Thank you everyone for taking our time to attend today's webinar, and I trust we're all keeping safe and healthy during this period. I'm sure we all know that the business terrain is facing the new norm, and people are wrapping their heads around the current pandemic in terms of what does the future hold. The current pandemic is not in our control, and we have to make sure we control the way we perceive and make the disruption work for us. This takes us to today's discussion on the future of work. The focus area for today is the current state of the job market, imperative of skill upgrade, and building a formidable team in time of change. The future of work signifies the opportunity to evolve our workforce and the workplace. What this means is that the world of work has changed and our work is never going to be the same again. The future of work is now, is no longer in the future. Now is the future. The current pandemic has forced every one of us to start working from home. Before now, if they ask anybody, who will say, oh, it's not possible for people to deliver while working from home. But now there is a paradigm shift. The 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. is now old school. Flexible work hour is now the order of the day. Virtual meetings, like the one we are currently having now, online training, video conferencing are the order of the day. Telecommuting is the new norm, and it is here to stay. Change is the only thing that is constant in life. The pandemic has forced us to rethink the way we do business and the way our employees work. Before now, so many organizations, we have several offices where employees can work, but now we don't actually need that. We can have a small office and people work virtually maybe 3 times or 2 times in a week, depending on individual organizations. Globalization and digitalization, the work of robots. People are usually very skeptical when they hear about digitalization or globalization because they believe that the robots are here to take jobs. Robots will take some jobs, definitely. Are we as employees? How prepared are we as an organization to ensure that we upskill and reskill in order to meet the current demands of the market? There is definitely a paradigm shift in the way we live and the way we work. The questions that arise from essential questions around is the skills that we need for the future jobs. The quality of jobs that we do and the support that the organization needs to give to employees in order to be able to perform excellently well in their current role. So many jobs are going to change in terms of how it's being done. And we expect that people wake up to that responsibility. Artificial intelligence is here to stay in the workplace. And what that means is that some people will upgrade their skills as at when due. During the lockdown, how many of us were able to learn 1 or 2 things online about our current job? What are the current trends in our job? What are the things that we need to improve on? How can we add value? We all need to do that during this period. And the organization also is providing support. For us in VDT, I know that we are currently sending out some staff to undergo some digital trainings. Before now, we don't do that. Even when you tell employees to go for online training, they'll tell you, oh, no, we don't want to go for online training. I want a classroom training. All those things have changed. The new norm is here to stay. So the workplace is going to change. The workforce are also going to change. And the nature of the work itself will change. What that means is that deliverables have to be set and employees have to meet those deliverables. According to George Shaw, progress is impossible with change, and those who cannot change their mind cannot change anything. Change is the order of the day, and we all must live by it. So how can we be relevant in the new norm? We need to upskill and we need to reskill. We need to learn new skills. We need to learn, unlearn, and relearn. There's so many things we can actually learn online. I mean, people used to say that Google is your friend. There's nothing that we want to learn that is not online. Just type it and you are there. In fact, there are so many online learnings, like the Udemy and all that. You can learn maybe some for free and some for some token. So we need to upskill and reskill our staff. As an employee, we need to learn by ourselves. Then as the organizations now are also empowering their people in terms of learning different things online. Learning new skills is one of the best ways to become successful. How can we be successful in our career? By not just feeling that, yes, we know everything. We need to learn new things in order for us to grow in our career and increase our chances of reaching our career goals. We all have different career goals. Some of us want to be MDs of their own businesses. What are the things we have done in order to get to that place? Or what are those things we are putting in place to ensure that that career goal is achieved? And most organizations now, your certificates cannot take you anywhere. Yes, certificate is a requirement, but we also need to learn some value-adding skills to ourselves in order to be able to stand out among employees. Most jobs are dynamic, and the world of work is constantly changing, even faster than we ever thought. Employees must be adaptable and up to date with trends and developments in the field in order to grow in their career. There are benefits when we upgrade our skills. What are those benefits when we upgrade our skills? Increased self-confidence. When we upgrade our skills, it gives us the self-confidence to be able to do anything at any time, because we are sure that we'll be able to deliver on any set task. Then we become resourceful. Resourceful means that we cannot just be pushed around the corner. We have what it takes to do the job. We have what it takes to do the job, and we add value to the task that is being assigned to us. It also gives us the opportunity to advance in our career. There are some skill sets that we need to learn that are old school. For instance, we said we want to learn Microsoft skills. By the time you will not have finished mastering the current Excel skills, you just be informed that there's a new things to learn in Excel. So what this current pandemic is telling us is that we need to keep learning and not stop learning, because anybody that stops learning, then that person is a dead person. Then how ready are we for the future of work? How ready are we? Do we have what it takes to stand out? I listed about 10 must-have skills during this period. I'll be touching on each of it. For this period, our critical thinking skills is very, very important. How creative are we in terms of coming up with new things, new innovations? It could just be that the next idea is what will take the company to the next height. How creative are we in terms of our thinking? What are we doing? Emotional intelligence. How well are we showing empathy to our employees? How well are we managing the people that work with us? At this period in time, people are undergoing stress and they need empathy from leaders and line managers. How analytic are we? Are we thinking right? Are we evaluating our judgment? Are we analyzing the flow in order to give a value-based judgment? Or we are being biased with the things that are not worth it? We need to be creative at this time. Then we also need to have a growth mindset. We need to have a growth mindset. We need to be innovative. Our interpersonal and communication skills must be top-notch during this period. How do we manage the people that work with us? How do we interact with them? How do we lead by example? How do we work in harmony without issues? Then technology, are we technology savvy? We need to learn any skills at all online. The online Google, the Google is there for us to learn anything. How well are we embracing this change? Do we think that this change is just the normal thing? Work is never going to return to the way it is. So we need to embrace this change with our whole heart, because it has come to stay. Then this takes us to how to build a formidable team. in times of change. We need to make sense of the change. How well are we making sense of this change? How well do we communicate with our employees so that they understand that the current trend is making things to change? We need to make sense out of it. We need to make good decisions out of what is currently happening. There are opportunities in this current pandemic that organizations can tap into. What are the values of the organization? Are people living the values? Are we recognizing the values when people live with it? Do you sanction people when they go against the value of the organization? Do you recognize or do you appreciate the effort when they live the value of the organization? These are things that we do in VDT. And we're also saying that employees can also imbibe living the values. Then at this period, the communication can never be enough. We've been communicating. We have to keep communicating so that people can be aware of the current trend. Information or communication can never be enough during this period. Employees need us to communicate more to them. Then we need to state the rules. What are the rules? The rules is that we start work at 9 and close by this, or we must leave. Nobody should be found to default in terms of the values of the organization. The rules have to be set, because they say that where there are no rules, then there are no sin. But in companies where rules are set, then it is expected that people will follow it. Then trust. How can we build trust? As leaders, we should encourage our team members to live by their words. If a task is given to employees, it is expected that they will accomplish it without the line manager micromanaging them. First, as an employee, we need to establish that with our line manager so that they can trust our outputs. Tasks are given, it is expected that those tasks are delivered as at when due. Emotional intelligence. As I said earlier, we need to show empathy to our employees. How well are we showing empathy to our employees during this period? You know, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. What that means is that there's no low ranger. There's no man is an island. We all need to do this together in order to achieve the common goal. And to achieve the common goal, it has to come from a team. For instance, if a customer requested for an installation, there are processes to be followed in VDT, which means that the starting process is from the marketing team to go and prospect the customers. Then it goes to another department to do the survey, to do the analysis and all that, before the final process is closed and before it becomes a business. Then in summary, to respond, leaders should pursue a broad reskilling agenda that develops employees' digital expertise and their cognitive, emotional, and adaptability skills. Companies can be resilient if their workforce aren't. So what that means is that during this period, we must train and retrain our staff in order to be ready for the new norm. I'll end my presentation by saying the greatest danger in times of turbulence is not the turbulence. It is to act with yesterday's logic. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we've had it all. We need to improve on our skills. The skills that we have pre-COVID-19 pandemic, pre the lockdown, is not the same thing that will take us to the post-COVID-19 era. What have you been using your time for during the lockdown? Have you been engaging yourself? Have you been improving on yourself? Have you gone on Google to see how you can improve on your skills? Or are you just whiling away the time? Are we using Google just to go and learn how to tie gele or to put on our caps? She's saying no, that should not be the only thing. And she also mentioned that we have a new norm, and this new norm has come to stay. This new norm is saying you don't have to be physically in the office to get your job done. Meaning, for the entrepreneurs out there, you may not even need the kind of office space that you have right now, because all your staff might not ever need to be in the office at the same time. At VDT, for instance, when the lockdown was relaxed, yes, some of us are in the office, but we are below 20% of the staff strength. The others are definitely not on leave. They are working remotely, they are working from home. So she's giving you insights there as the HR person, as the entrepreneur, that you might really be able to cut down on some expenses. And that does not mean that work is not going on as it should be. So change. There's a change in the way we carry out our work, and this change has come to stay. She also mentioned the fact that AI is also coming, but then there will still be some people that will drive this. Are these people, do they have the skill? Will you be relevant when that period comes? Even now, are you relevant? Because really, for most organizations, there might be need to actually downsize or right size. So, but will you be the relevant ones? Will you be the one that your employee will definitely need to come back after COVID-19? So she's saying you need to train, you need to learn, unlearn, and relearn. You need to ensure that you are constantly improving on yourself and not just stay idle and assume that lockdown or working from home means relaxation. And also for the HR person, she's saying look more into online trainings. So many physical trainings will no longer be in vogue post-COVID-19 pandemic era. So you as the HR person, what are you looking at? How are you also cutting cost? This is part of the things that she's saying. And then we definitely need to ensure that we value and improve on our values so that indeed our organization will see that we are relevant in coming back after the lockdown. So once again, thank you, Jumoke.
For customer service, we need to first start with digital training for customer service office, for customer service role. I know that there's something we are currently doing for our customer service units in VDT, and is to help them enhance their skills in terms of customer service management and their digital skills. What that means is that they're not just going to be resolving issues, they're also a first point of call to our customers. So they also serve as a reference point for marketing in some instances, if they need be. Then for the sales people, yes, they already have sales. They are used to the normal going to offices to go and drop proposals, go and meet with customers in their office. Now we are in the era of digital. So they also need to enhance their skills in that aspect. How to market your sales effectively online. So I think they can also go for that training. One of the ways to do that is this. You know, you are supposed to actually go to work on those days that you are working from home. So the way the organization can cut costs is to ensure that your transport fare is used to augment for the other expenses you might incur while working from home. But in some instances, some organizations can also look, okay, let's look at the cost. What are the cost implications? How much do you spend? What is your transport allowance for that day? And what do you incur while working from home? Then we can look at it. If it's objectively assessed, then organizations can then maybe give an incentive to work. But most organizations, what's available now is the transport allowance for those periods you're working at home should be used to settle those expenses incurred while working from home. For instance, I used to say that when we learn new skills, the first person that benefits is you. Irrespective of the job that you do, the knowledge acquired, you are the first person to benefit from it. And how can you ensure that the organization assists? For us in VDT, there's something we call, that we have some trainings or certifications that employees must go through, and they are signed and approved. So for you to then go for any learnings, either for personal development or for your work, there's a process that has to be followed if you want the organization to reimburse you. So if that process is followed and the training or certification adds value to your work, the company will definitely support you. I mentioned something about upskilling and reskilling. Now, what that means is that jobs are definitely going to change. JDs are going to be reviewed, but how ready are we as an employee? Do we have the capability, the competencies to take on that new role? If no, what have we done in regard to ensure that we have those new skills needed for the new role? And what is the organization also doing to ensure that those new skills are acquired by employees? And that's why the issue of upskilling, you have to do your part, and the organization also needs to do their own part, so that this business resilience we are talking about can be achievable. So it's a two-way thing, one from the employee and the other from the employer. We need to work in collaboration to ensure that this is done. So my advice to the participants is to ensure that it learns new skill. Organizations are going to come up with their own learning plan or learning calendar for the remaining part of the year, so that the skill gap that have been identified needs to be closed.